we have a podcast.
Diving deep into all things Texans, both on and off the field. Here's Sean Pendergast and Pro Football Hall of Famer, the General, John McClain. Welcome to Houtopia.
All right, John, you ready to do a little pregame six-pack for this bad boy?
I am.
All right, let's do it. Pregame six-pack for the Arizona Cardinals. We'll give our prediction at the end of the six-pack as well. 6 people, position groups, or storylines that impact this game tremendously. We should know here that the spread has been hovering on this game. The lowest I've seen it is Texans -4. That's where I got it earlier this week. Today, this morning, it was Texans -4.5. It got up to 5. So that's where we are right now. The Texans are hovering as about a 4 or 5 point favorite. I would imagine Kyler Murray's presence in this game has a lot to do with that. If this was a Clayton Tune situation, I'm guessing the Texans are over a touchdown favorite at home against the Cardinals, but they've got their franchise quarterback back for this game. So, John, with that laid out, you are up first, my friend.
I'm not going to break it down by position. I'm going to do the whole defense because they've got to keep him bottled up and not let Murray break long runs when his protection breaks down. And Jonathan Grenard and Will Anderson Jr. statistically are the best set of ends at setting the edge. And I can't remember if that's Next Gen Stats or Pro Football Focus, and they're going to have to be really disciplined about Murray. And I would guess they might have somebody spying on him.
Yeah.
Maybe Jalen Petrie. I don't know. Petrie's coming off a bad game in which he missed too many tackles, but they're going to have a special plan for Kyler Murray, as they should. And they run the ball pretty well even before he was back. That's what they did best. So their offense is going to be good. It's going to be a good test for the overall defense that gave up some big pass plays. But that's what happens when you're missing 3 of your top 4 safeties, and they could be missing them again. Obviously, M.J. Stewart, Derek Murray on IR, and Jimmy Ward may miss a second game in a row. And that's why DeAndre Houston Carson stepping up with an interception and 7 unassisted tackles was such a big deal for the defense. But they can't let Murray find receivers down the field, and they got to keep him contained.
John, did you just take the whole defense as an item on the six-pack? You took one whole side of the football.
I did. Well, you can still break it down individually.
All right, I'm going to. I'm gonna play off
because mine was all about containing Kyler Murray.
Yeah. I'm gonna dovetail off of what you just said. I want to hone in on that spy part of the whole thing, putting a spy on him. He is the type of quarterback you need to put a spy on him. When they won the game last week against Atlanta, it wasn't because Drew Petzig, their offensive coordinator, was scheming up a bunch of plays to go have them drive down and get a field goal. Unlike the Texans, they got down there because Kyler Murray had a big scramble on a 3rd and 10. There was vintage Kyler Murray where he runs backwards for about 15 yards so that he can run forward for 25 and get a first down. And then the play that put them in field goal position was Kyler just throwing a ball up to Trey McBride, the tight end, who may find his way into this six-pack at some point as well. So I think the spy on Kyler, especially obviously for the scrambling part of it more than anything else, and that's why I will get specific, and I would say Blake Cashman would be my guy. That would be the guy that I would have as the spy on Kyler Murray. I think he's got the athleticism to do it. I think he's got the discipline to do it. And I think he's been one of their best tacklers this year, which is a big key. That's why Petrie would scare me as a spy for Kyler Murray. Petrie's tackling, John, he's been in position to do things. He was in position to do things last week. His tackling is still suspect this year, and that's disappointing to me.
Absolutely. I talked to Blake Cashman in the locker room on Wednesday. And I asked him because I pointed out you were hurt your entire career with the Jets. You were on IR, and then you got here. I said, has something changed? And he said as soon as he came to Houston, they started telling him about things that he should do about all the soft tissue injuries that he had. And he says he's put a lot of time into it, and it takes a lot of time to constantly be working on your body, but it's worked. He's been able to stay healthy. I think, didn't he get an extension?
Well, for this year, yeah.
And so he's very, very happy, very fit. And I think that's just so interesting that one team would have him do something that another team did not.
Yeah, well, hopefully he can pass some of those tricks of the trade for soft tissue injuries on to Derek Stingley Jr. That would be sweet if he could do that. What's your next one, John?
It's got to be C.J. Stroud. I don't think he can continue to be Superman every game. Now, he had 3 turnovers, 2 of which were legitimate. That fumble was just preposterous and should have been an incompletion. But I think that as long as he doesn't turn the ball over like he did, and I think the odds are against him doing it two games in a row, and him just continue to make the plays down the field, I'm blown away at how well they throw the ball down the field. I was listening to NFL radio this week, and a guy I know who's been on there a lot was talking about they don't ask Stroud to do too much in that offense. And I'm saying, obviously, you're not paying any attention.
No,
because
God,
they
no.
ask him to do so much in that offense. He's not going to keep averaging 400 yards a game. I think they take 260 or 270 with no turnovers, a couple touchdown passes. So I'm going to say Stroud's going to have to make sure he outplays Kyler Murray.
John, I'll give you some numbers that will back up that'll make you feel good if that's one of your keys. The Arizona Cardinals pass defense they give up 101 passer rating to opposing quarterbacks. That is 31st in the NFL. They allow over 26 points per game. That is 28th in the NFL. They are 29th in the NFL on allowing third down conversions, which CJ Stroud is one of the best third down converters in the NFL and maybe the best rookie third down converter that I have ever seen in my life. So it lines up nicely for your six-pack pick to do good things there.
That bodes very well for the offense in general and, of course, Stroud in particular.
Yep. So I'm going to add to that, John, with my next one, Nico Collins. Nico's back at practice this week. From what I heard, Nico might have been able to have played last week, but I'm guessing being cautious because he's been injury prone. But he's back at practice. He's going to play on Sunday. John, he's got to have watched these last couple of weeks, both the game he played in against Tampa Bay and the one he watched from the sidelines against Cincinnati, and said to himself, I want in on this party, man. We had a 470-yard passing performance against Tampa Bay, and they had three guys get 100 yards in that game, and I wasn't one of them. And then he's sitting and he's watching Noah Brown get a $172. Noah Brown, of all people, getting a $172, and Tank Dell piecing the Bengals defense, and Dalton Schultz is getting things done again with 71 yards receiving. Nico Collins is healthy, and he has had some big games this year, and I think he wants in on this party. So Nico Collins, my pick is for Nico Collins. He is this week's 100-yard receiver because he's too tired. He's very tired of watching all these other guys pile up all these stats.
Noah Brown leads the league in average yards per catch. The Texans are they're the only team in the league that has 4 players, including Schultz, who are in the top 25 in yards. Man. And number 1 is Collins, number 2 is Dell, 3 is Brown, 4 is Schultz. Mm-hmm. Those guys, think about where we thought they were wide receiver-wise to start the season. Now Collins and Brown outside, both big, both block like crazy. Tank Dell moving around from the slot, swapping with Noah Brown, putting Brown in the slot, and then with Dalton Schultz catching and blocking his butt off.
Yeah.
That receiver group, coached by Ben McDaniels, has done a tremendous job.
I still see a lot of people, John, like, what's up with John Mechie? How come John Mechie isn't getting on the field? And my feeling on that is 2 things. One, to your point, you just named off a bunch of guys and add Robert Woods in there too, who's, back healthy again. It's weird to say, but it's hard for Mechie to get on the field right now because these guys are playing so well in front of him. Secondly, when Mechie has gotten on the field, he's actually done some things the last couple of weeks. He's made some catches in some crucial situations. He made a couple catches in that Bengals game, one that got him down in the shadows of the goalpost there at about the 5-yard line. And Mechie blocks his ass off when he's in the game too. He's a really good blocker. So I'm fine with, given how, it's hard to complain about anything with the passing offense. I'm not going to sit here and complain about Mechie when they're putting up 300 yards a game passing offense.
One of the things, when I went back and watched the game a couple of times, and when a guy makes a big play down the field, they usually take him out immediately, let him catch his breath, or if his guy's been blocking somebody, knocked him on the ground, they'll pull him out because they've got other guys ready to go. So really, if you think about the wide receivers, they're 5 deep, and if Xavier Hutchinson got to play, don't tell him what he'd be able to do. He just can't get the playing time. If he's in the game, I'm thinking end around.
Yeah, no kidding, right? He's run a couple this year, and they've looked really, really good. All right, what's your last one for the 6-pack, John?
It's the offensive line continuing to run block the way it did against Cincinnati. I know the Bengals were bad coming in, 27th, I believe, but the Panthers were 31st. Now they ran for 110. So I think if they continue to run block and Devin Singletary can plant that foot and go, pick up the right holes, make he's got some moves. And plus the fact, he's small, but man, 30 carries, he didn't flinch. So the run blocking, I think, is still paramount to what they want to accomplish on offense.
They were good pass blocking too, the offensive line. They only allowed 1 sack on 41 dropbacks against the Bengals last week. So they've been solid all year protecting CJ in the passing game, but they were really solid last week. So yeah, hopefully more of that on Sunday. All right, my last one, John. This is similar to coming out of the bye week against Carolina. I think one of my 6-pack items. I think my last 6-pack item was, how do the Texans handle having read their own press clippings for 2 weeks about how amazing they've been? And they obviously, I hesitate to say they didn't handle it well, because I don't think that was the reason they lost to Carolina. They just executed poorly on offense, and I thought Bobby Slowick called just a horrendous game that game with all the runs on first and second down, very predictable. I didn't think effort was a huge issue. They made some mistakes in that game, so I think they, as far as reading their own press clippings, yeah, they lost that game. I don't know that was the reason, but I think similarly now, it's similar dynamic. They've won 2 in a row. CJ is the toast of the league. Like, literally, he is the toast of the league right now. Their offense is being talked about like one of the most prolific, high-flying offenses in the NFL. God, when has that happened in Houston? That's been a decade since we've been talking about the Texans offensively like this. And just so I will be curious to see, do they come out fast, especially at home? Do they come out fast in this game? What does this look like? What's the start of this game look like? Do they let Arizona hang around in this game? I know the spread's only 4.5, 5, so it's not a big spread, but the Texans are clearly the more talented football team. I think they're the better coached football team. They're by far the more explosive football team and the more complete football team in all 3 phases of the game. This is a game that, in my opinion, this is a game they should win by 2 scores. Absolutely. Get on them early. So how do the Texans come out in this game, having looked so good the last couple of games? Do they come out a little sluggish, or do they come out ready to put their foot on the throat? Because I think they come out fast. I don't think they're going to let Arizona hang around very long in this game on Sunday.
If they do come out sluggish, Sean, I think what we're going to see is the crowd will have an effect on this game, exhorting them if that happens. But I would think the adrenaline will be flowing because there should be a good crowd.
Yeah.
And I don't think for a minute every seat's going to be filled, because they never are. But if they win this game, that Jacksonville game ought to be the actual most fans they've had in the stands. But I think the crowd, just like in the last game when they had the great comeback against Tampa, they were loud and proud, and they could have an effect on the game.
What's your prediction?
I'm taking the Texans to win 27-23.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you think this thing's going to hang right around the spread? You see a close game on Sunday.
I hope I'm wrong, but they had that big game in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They got a big one coming up against Jacksonville. So we'll see how they handle the success and if they're looking ahead.
Well, to be clear, I hope you're right. I'll take a 27-23 win. If I were betting on the game, which I did, I got it at -4. I don't know that I'd root for your final score. A push is better than a loss, I would say. But if I had -4.5, I'll tell you right now, I would hate it if they finished 27-23 for sure. But I'll take a win. I'll take a dub. I'm going to go 31-20 in this game. I think the Texans win by 2 scores. I think they win by double digits. And I don't think they let Arizona really put a scare into them on Sunday. So John and I both have the Texans winning this game. I've got them winning and covering fairly handily in this game. All right, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.